All right, welcome everyone. Kenny Mullins, Ralph Bennett, and we are with the American Blood Trackers Association. And we are here to talk about uh, our upcoming event. We have some questions that people submitted earlier on our Facebook group. We'll start out with the event details, and we'll get into questions.
We got the tracking event, not this week, but next week. Friday will be testing on the 16th. The seminar will be on the 17th, and some more testing on the 18th. Um, there's two locations. They're pretty close to each other, and we've put that on the Facebook.
We put the seminar one on Facebook, and we will be sending everyone a a location for the testing site as we get the test schedule nailed down. We'll send that to everyone that's testing. Stacy will take care of that.
Um, Also, anybody that wants to test, um, you can go to the website and there's a full menu of what you can purchase. Just remember, you gotta be a member, so you gotta join or pay for a membership to do any testing. So but the website's pretty easy to navigate through, so you can go on there and select what you want to test for.
I'll get try to get where I can pull it up.
While he's doing that, also the snake avoidance guy is going to be there again, and he's willing to go 2 days. Right now, we've just about filled up 1 day of testing, and so if anybody wants to join up for the snake avoidance, it's on the website also. You can join that way, and then as we fill up, we'll tell you which day you're going to be attending that, and we'll have a schedule for that. And each handler, he likes for you to be there while he's doing the snake avoidance training, so that you can handle your dog. And so if it's the day of the test or the day of the seminar, you'll just have to step out of the seminar for just a little while, and he'll run through that avoidance class.
It takes about 15-20 minutes.
Yep.
So
I'm getting all four of my dogs done, so that's how we've gotten some really good feedback from the last seminar we did where he was there, and we've already had some people say it's helped them, it's avoided some snakes, and so feedback's been good.
Saw it on test line. We ran Saturday. Stella alerted on an area where a snake had been. You could see her wanting to avoid that area, so it definitely works.
So just go on there and sign up for that. Also, we've been getting great responses for people wanting to be judges, and the judges application is on the website also. So anybody from anywhere that wants to be a judge, we'd be happy to look at it and get you started with that.
I'll go over that real quick. All right. If you guys can see it here, this is our home page. So if you want to sign up as a membership, you can click up here, or you can scroll further down where it says join today. And you can see, just click right there and you can join there. To sign up for the events and testing, you just go to event testing signups. And you'll see it all there. You just click on book for whatever you want to sign up for. And then what else did you go over on the website? Judges. You go under testing. If you're interested, there's the application right there. Perry Lawrence said, just got done tracking. Kevin Farr got it. Jason Altman, nice shirts. Thank you, Jason. Ralph had these made. Speaking of shirts, you got some other ones, don't you?
Yep, we just got these in today. We've got 2 different colors, and they're both, I'll show you in just a second.
He wasn't expecting to do that this early, but since Jason brought it up.
We've got some long sleeve ones. These. Then we've got some short sleeve orange, or we got short and long sleeve in both colors, but we've got some orange ones and the gray ones. We've got most all the sizes from small up to 2X.
We'll get those on the website. We'll have them
Correct.
available at the event. We also have the cups, which we showed you the last couple of weeks. And
Yeah, these will be at the event here. We'll also, if we're gonna do it next Tuesday also.
Yes, I should be back.
If we do that, I'll have the hats. We've got hats coming. Also, they'll be ready this weekend. And most of y'all have seen them, but we've got the stickers. We'll have those on the website also. And as we're going to be getting some more. We're looking into some. I don't know if y'all have seen my camo track dog bowls. We're going to get some with the ABTA on them, and so we'll have some of those on the website. So we'll be coming up with some things we think people could utilize, and we'll start putting them on there as we get them.
Yeah, and we're starting to fill up on testing, aren't we?
Yeah.
And we literally had someone stop in a few minutes ago and threw another one on us that we didn't have on the list. So we're getting pretty full. So if you want to test, sign up fairly quick.
Main reason is so we can get it scheduled and have all the slots scheduled out. Not to say there's a deadline yet, but if we get too many more, I mean, we don't want to get overpacked here. So
Right.
um,
We do still have some availability, but it's getting full.
Also, I don't know if everybody reads this magazine or gets this magazine, but he has allowed us to have a column in every edition, which is quarterly, I believe, isn't it?
What's the name of it?
Southern Hound Magazine, or Southern Hound Hunting, and he's given us a column, like I said, and here's our first column that we've done. Kenny wrote this one, did a great job, and we're going to be in it for every edition. So if y'all sign up and get, I think I got 2 years worth of the magazine. So sign up and get you a magazine.
I keep forgetting.
A lot of good reading.
I got to go on there and do that. That's great people.
He'll be at the event also. He told me last night he was going to be able to come. Sucker's going on a mountain lion hunt.
Oh man,
Lord. So he's supposed to be back, so he should be at the place. If you wanted to sign up for a magazine at the event, he'll be there at a table. So you want to talk about the tracker rat?
Yeah. So I don't have a logo on me. We got the banner, but anyways, if you guys aren't familiar with the TrackR app, it's TRAKR. Go on there and basically it's like an Uber for trackers. You can go on there and request a tracker. It hasn't been real popular in our immediate area here in Florida and Georgia, but I'm on there. I get notifications for South Carolina and Alabama, and I mean it's taken off pretty good. Shane has got a really good app there. A lot of good information he's been sharing. So we want y'all to check that out. You can check it on their website. You can download the app. If you test and become a certified team through us, you can list that on his app. There is a place for you to list your certification, and Shane will verify it with us. That's one thing we like about Shane and his app. They have put in a lot of work,
And money.
and yeah, a lot of work, time, money, but he's really making sure that there's vetted teams on the app. Not sure what that's about, but Kayla Tyre said we got 2 tracks off the app this past year. Yes, and John Clark took one off of the app this year. I heard good feedback. TrackR is great. Ever consider the Blood Trails app? I have not used that app yet, but we have spoke with them. I've got to do that this week. We've just been so busy with this event coming up and a lot of other stuff going on, but that is on the list to check out. So Ralph, got some questions that were sent in.
Yep. I'm gonna read a couple of the questions, or start reading a few of them, then we'll try to get some answers. We were kind of joking about the drop pins,
Yes.
but I don't think it's that big of a joke.
No, it's not.
It's probably, to me, the biggest thing is the people sending us the drop pins.
Yes.
But since there's probably not a lot of hunters listening,
Well,
I have to explain to the hunters all the time how to do a drop pin, because they'll send me a screenshot of a map, and that doesn't get us anywhere.
no.
But as far as like when we received the pin, I kind of assumed everybody would know how to use it, but I don't think they do. After hearing some comments,
No.
I don't believe people know that you've got to click on the pin and then choose, like either say start or get directions.
Yep.
And you've got to go a step further so that it populates, and you can, in essence, it's putting you right on the Google Maps or the iPhone.
Yeah, that's something, I'm glad you
Right.
mentioned that, because I have an iPhone, but if I send you a pin off of Apple Maps, and you're stuck in time with an Android.
No, mine converts it over. I can do the iPhone. With mine, it'll convert it over.
But some people's won't.
Yeah, that I don't know what to do with, but
It's probably best to just send it through Google, because most people use Google.
And it'll send you, if anybody needs any answers on that, you can call, we'll run you through that. But those are the best, easiest, because I heard people laughing about it, but people will send you into their hunt clubs down trails, and it'll take you there.
Yeah, well, they're still in there grid searching for the deer that they called you about 2 hours before and said they were backing out.
So that,
But so what brought that about is where our seminar site is. There is no street address.
right.
It's just a road name, and so I posted. You can go on the event tab on our Facebook page, and you can click on it and get directions there. But there is no street number, and so someone was having a difficult time because they were wanting to put it into their GPS or Drive Track or TomTom. Probably telling my age saying TomTom. Anyways, their GPS in their vehicle, and it wasn't working. So in that case, you probably just have to use your phone. But with where it's located, we're going to try to put some signs out at the roads, aren't we?
Yep.
If you get on Highway 84, I mean, you're going to see the signs. But for those of you that are able to use your phone to click on that, you can get directions that way.
All right. The next question, Mike Payton. With training being the focus the last few weeks, common mistakes made during training could be a good subject.
Ooh, that
That's
could
your
be
department.
a long one. And we're going to go over a lot of that at the seminar. Probably the most common is not pushing a dog hard enough.
Oh.
That's probably the most common thing. A person holding their dog back and not knowing when to advance. That's a huge one. Probably another big one is the best time to teach recall and leash obedience is when they're young pups. That 8 to 12 weeks old, 10 to 12, 10 to 16 weeks even. That's the time you really want to teach that recall and some leash obedience. That's probably the number one thing that missed opportunity in training. Forget about putting that dog on trails at 8, 10, 12 weeks. Can you do it? Yes. You're going to get way more out of that obedience, that recall and obedience at that age.
I'm not a trainer, so don't take this from me being a trainer, but I don't even worry about it. The scent, I like doing the other stuff first.
Right.
Because you can utilize that immediately. The scent stuff, they're not going to use that at 3 months, 6 weeks, 8 months, or 8 weeks old, 10 weeks old, but they'll come to a snap of a finger to a treat immediately. As soon as they know that's what it's for, and it just keeps on and on. By the time you send them off or you're going to do the scent training, you're going to need that other stuff along with the scent training.
Right.
And it just, to me, just makes a more rounded dog to where it's more enjoyable to me. And we had Potter, which is, I've got a Catahoula. And we were on the last weekend, I told Jason to watch, and I hit that tone button and that dog stopped. He was about 150 yards away, stopped, wheeled around, looked for me, and just as fast as he could come back to me, I said, now that right there was worth it. And
oh, yeah.
He hadn't been on many trails or anything, but that recall, man, that was awesome. And you need it. I mean, there is no, to me, you should not underestimate the necessity for recall, because you never know when the hard road's coming. I've looked ahead to see snakes before. Just
calling them off
panic
of a live view.
situations. That too. That'll take them into a hard road or into areas you don't want them to go. So,
and it starts at that young age. You may not realize it, and and as you, especially for the off-lead trackers, as you transition into that, the e-collar training, it makes it so much easier whenever you have that solid foundation laid as a young pup. So that to me is number one. The scent trailing, that's a natural instinct that you're basically teaching them scent discrimination, what you want them to follow. It really doesn't matter what age you do that. I like the 6 month mark. I don't even start my dogs until they're 6 months old as far as scent work. Some people may not agree, and I know some people they like to imprint it young. But to me, that young stage is their development phase, and you've got to get that recall and that obedience. That's number one.
All right. Another one from TRP. How to enter coordinates into a handheld. Say fellow tracker jumps deer and has to leave this and shares last blood or bed coordinates.
So I posted a YouTube video. If you go on Mullins Dog Training Facebook, you can see the YouTube video. I also shared it in the American Blood Trackers group. And I set up my training buttons where one of them is a waypoint. And literally all you have to do is hit that button and it marks the waypoint. Well, you can pull up your waypoint list and it'll give you the GPS coordinates, and you can share that to get back to last blood.
I know we don't have our handhelds here, but how do you share that?
I don't have it on me, but I'll do another video and I'll post it on the American Blood Trackers Facebook group. So if you're not part of that, go ahead and join. But the easiest way is just to go to that waypoint, click on it, and it'll show you the GPS coordinates, and I'll just text it to the person. You could also do it. You could also drop a pin.
Yeah, that's another.
Drop a Google pin. Socializing obedience, then start scent around 5-6 months old is usually work best for me. Now that you mentioned that, socializing is not just taking them around people. You have environmental socialization. You need to get them out in the woods, get them in the water, get them in the briars, get them in the vines, the mud. I mean, we have dogs come to us that are afraid of stumps. We might walk across a piece of trash in the woods, a Randy Vick deflated balloon, and they booger up because they haven't been socialized environmentally.
Also, never miss an opportunity to take a young dog with other dogs on a dead deer, because you'll find out whether they are possessive. Speaking of that Catahoula I have, nicest, sweetest dog in the world, and he got possessive the last day of the season, and so I had to correct him. And the next one we went on, he didn't show any aggression. So it works, but you got to get them around stuff all the time to where that just constant socializing. I never, ever hesitate or shy away from being around other people or other dogs, especially tracking, just for that reason. I want them to be as social as I humanly can make it happen, just because I don't want there to ever be a problem. And so that's just one distraction you don't have to worry about.
Yep, gunfire.
Yep.
Started at a young age, and one of the people watching called me a couple weeks ago, has a gun-shy dog. Want to know how to correct that, and it can be done, and I gave him advice on how to do it. It's so much easier to start as a puppy and keep them from becoming gun shy. So that was good. That was good, Damon Chase. Appreciate you bringing up the socializing, because that is important. And like I said, a lot of people, they don't know what true socialization is.
All right, Kyle Parks asked the question: what conditions determine whether you run a track on lead or off lead?
Walls. If I can run off lead, I'm running off lead. I don't care. Well, I shouldn't say it. Highways, we mentioned that. Obviously, dog safety is number one. Well, number one is.
But that can be altered by how good your dog recalls too, because that's just a comfort level that you never know when you're going to need it. But I use it a lot because we hunt around we track around urban stuff all the time, to where I'm in a city block with paved roads on all four sides and somebody's hunting it. And you better be on your A game with that GPS. But my dogs are okay, so I don't worry about it. I don't ever run on lead unless I just have to.
Right.
But
laws is the number one reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're not going to promote breaking the laws.
All right. The next question he had was, how far from the highway to start the track?
How far from the
How far from the highways to start the track?
The hit site dictates where to start the track. Now, how far from the highway depends on whether that dog's going to be on lead or
You could
off.
have shot the deer on the highway.
We don't talk about that here.
So he said he tracked a lot in town. Train tracks close by. Yeah, that's one of my dreaded. I hated train tracks.
There again, that's another key thing with training, is teaching them. If you're going to track around train tracks, train how you track. Train crossing train tracks, train crossing roads. Because what happens a lot of times when a dog hits a road or a train track or a power line, instead of going straight across, for whatever reason, they want to go that way, then that way, then that way, before they go across. So train how you track. Roxanne Kuge said, talk about proper training on the recall collars. You can really mess a dog up shocking them on recall without proper training and shock exposure. That, for those of you who don't know, she's a trainer. Her and I, we train very similarly. We talk quite a bit. I was on the phone with her dad on the way here, actually. That's a huge one. We see more dogs ruined by someone trying to quote unquote collar condition them. You should only turn that correction up enough for that dog to show a reaction. Don't start out wide open. I start out at 1, and then I work my way up till I see a reaction. Never start wide open. And honestly, if I'm training for an e-collar, I rarely have to shock the dog.
Yep.
I mean, it's all in how you do it. I mean, we take 2 people. We have a long rope. We'll let the dog get away from us, not paying attention. Hit that tone button, say here, and pull that dog to us. A lot of times you don't even have to use correction on them. There's going to come a point where, especially some dogs, where you may have to, so they know, hey, if I don't pay attention, this is what's coming. But don't burn them up. And by burn them up, I mean don't shock them real high.
The next question, TR had another question. The importance of communication with trackers and what to ask the hunters to prevent cutoffs.
We went over that a couple of times. One thing that I've been stressing to a lot of the trackers this year that I've been mentoring or working with, or I guess you'd say babysitting, and always ask the hunter, have you been in contact with any other trackers? It's just a respect thing. I'll use Randy Vick's name because he's on here. Randy and I have had it happen to us numerous times this year. We're on the phone, we commit to a track. Next thing we know, someone else is there. Or, someone shared a story a couple of weeks ago where they showed up to the track and there was another tracker already there. That could have been prevented by just simply asking, have you been in contact with another tracker? At least at that point, you're doing your part. You're showing respect to your fellow trackers, and that'll alleviate that. And also build that relationship with your fellow trackers. If I tell a guy, hey, we need to wait, or gal, if I tell a hunter that we need to wait 4 hours, there's a reason I'm telling them we need to wait 4 hours. Problem is, a lot of these younger trackers, I call it, especially the second year syndrome, when they know everything, and you can't tell them otherwise. They want to go, or that catch mentality. Oh, let's go catch it. We can catch it. Let me tell you something. I have catch dogs. I've had some really good catch dogs, bay dogs. My recovery rate significantly increased when I quit just going with that catch mentality. When you start utilizing proper wait times, you not only put your dog in a safer environment, you're going to recover more deer. More times than not, when you try to catch, you're gonna. Now, my area, we have tons of room to run. You have less room to run here. I mean, I could run in some places. I can run a deer for miles if I want to. But why? If all I have to do is wait an extra 2 hours and not have to chase that thing for 2 miles,
I don't have that problem because I don't have that option. I gotta wait. My little short-legged dogs. So we utilize that a lot. We have a pretty good success rate for doing that.
I looked back at my stats, and when I had that catch mentality, oh, I'll just go, and you always get these people, oh, I got to go back home, I can't wait. Well, bull crap. They just want you to come out there early 99% of the time, and I'll play it out, and I'll play along with them and drag it out. But I look back, and when I went from that catch mentality, I went from a 54 to 56% recovery rate average to mid to upper 60s. You know, I've been bumping 67, 68, but primarily between 64 and 68% since utilizing those wait times.
They definitely help. Because just like gut shots, I mean, they're going to die. You wait, they're going to be dead. If you don't wait, they can leave the country just as fast as an unhurt deer. Or one of the big problems that I heard this year, you know, when you run a gut shot deer, say, or any deer that's putting off pheromone and slinging, you know, blood or the gut matter everywhere, you're also putting out a track for every varmint on the earth.
That's right.
That's looking for food too. And now they're competing. So now if you run it and then you pull off after you run it a half a mile or a mile and decide then to go back in later or whatever your decision, well, guess what? Now all the animals that's looking for food too, you just strung that trail out when the deer would probably have died 80 to 100 yards from the hit site and just laid there with nothing, no track laid of being hurt, or, you know, not like a half a mile. And we had that happen this year where the coyotes got it because we waited till the next morning after the hunters had jumped it, and they pushed and they pushed. Well, it was a good track after a while, a long track. Yep. For a gut shot, and the coyotes had got it. And that's the best way to control those unforeseen situations that you just don't know what's happened. But waiting is a must to me.
I had someone call me yesterday. Was it yesterday? I don't know. My days run together. Asking about a track, said that they were trying to figure out, you know, where it was hit. I said, look, you don't have enough details to know. Wait. Time's on your side. You know, there's no reason to go in there. If you don't feel confident about where it's hit, wait. Because like you said, people don't think about that. You go in there early and you push that deer, you just left an even longer trail for predators to cross.
And pushing it across property lines.
Yep.
That's another big key that, why? Just let the thing lie. It's going to. one of the big thing, and I've had a couple of apprentices I worked with this year, and when they call and give the hunter interview and that type thing, they call me back and they go, "Well, he wants to do this," and my first and main reaction to that is control the track. And everybody wants tracks, but I personally, I'll give up a track if they're going to want to go to the fastest guy, because they're not wanting the best success rate. They just want the fastest person to get there. I'm not going to be that guy. And so if they want to call somebody else, be willing to give up a track. Don't screw up a track because the hunter he's impatient. They're all impatient. They don't care about anything except finding their deer.
That's right.
And they don't think what's the best way to have the best successful track. That's, to me, that is all of our worst enemy is hunter anxiety. And so control that the best you can. And if you're willing to give up a track, if all of us were willing to give up a track, he wouldn't have nobody coming to the track.
Well, you want to end up on my do not call list? Call another tracker in after I gave you wait times. And that tracker will end up on my non-referral list.
Yep.
I just don't play those games anymore. I'm to the point I don't have to. I mean, I get plenty of tracks. I'm not gonna fight and argue over a track with someone anymore. I just won't refer to you. If you took one out from under me and you didn't want to wait, like Ron Slifer said right here, a proven fact is a dead deer goes nowhere. Wait. I like that.
Yeah.
And Damon Chase says most of the time they will be calling back without a doubt.
Yeah. And a lot of times they're calling back to come back later to get the deer that was pushed by the previous tractor.
That's right.
I've done that so many times. And it's senseless. It's crazy to do that.
And I'll tell you, you know this, Ralph. If someone calls me and I said, "Hey, I think we need to wait 4 hours," well, they call you and you say, "Have you been in contact with another tracker?" Well, didn't they say they've been in contact with me? You call me and I say, "Hey, I think it needs to wait 4 hours. If you want to go on it, go ahead." Because most of the time, I'm backed up anyways.
Yeah.
I don't mind sharing. Or I'll say, "Hey, why don't we go together?"
Yep.
Travis Sykes, I've tracked with Ralph a lot the last 2 years, and he has the best strategy when it comes to deer that jumps. That's why he recovers as many as he does. One day he might teach me that strategy, Travis.
Well, to me, the easiest way and the most successful way, to me, that jump dictates how bad that deer's hurt. To me,
right.
If it goes 100 yards and it lays back down, I change my strategy. If it goes 500 yards, that's a whole different strategy. That might mean I think the deer's well enough that it's not going to be recovered. And whether it be going and looking at the wound beds or just whatever we find, those things, and you're sitting here changing your strategy along right with that track. You might change it a couple of times during it based on how the dogs do. I'm never going to run a deer a half a mile. I don't have a catch dog. I'm not going to catch a deer. So I've got to use, me and Jason, I call it the small dog strategy. I've got to let them, if it jumps, I pull off for a half hour and then I put back on it and I see how far the deer goes. And we've done it to where they jump 4 or 5 times, but they're only going 50 yards and we let them lay. And a lot of times it'll just get shorter and shorter. Next thing you know, we're able to dispatch the deer. But to me, it's a blast because I have to use strategy all the time to try to figure this stuff out. And the wait times though is to me the biggest thing. You talking about like Ron saying that. I think it was Crystal Gainey said it. You know, a dead deer ain't going to be no more dead.
That's right.
I mean, thing's going to be laying right there, deader than, you know, he's just going to be dead. It ain't going anywhere. So there is no reason to rush it.
No, and we have a lot of people from northern states on here watching right now. And, you know, us down here in the South, especially Florida, South Georgia, you know, we see all the time the people up north that they want to rush to field dress that deer. I think it's going to spoil.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Anyone that tracks where Ralph and I tracks at, Florida, South Georgia, Ralph,
even farther south.
Oh yeah, even further south.
Deer.
I mean, I've tracked way south. How many deer have you seen spoiled that's left overnight?
I don't believe I have.
I haven't either.
I've only had 2 deer that I know is spoiled when we got there, not counting the coyotes or something like that or bears that have gotten.
No, just spoiled from heat. And we track in 90-degree temperatures.
Or hotter.
Right. So don't think just because it's 80 degrees outside that you can't let that deer lay.
Plus, you don't know when, like we've said 100 times, you don't know when the deer died. So you're speculating that it died when it was shot. That usually isn't the case. And but even if it did, waiting a few hours is not going to hurt anything.
Damon Chase said, I myself used to be that guy. I was always ready to get the next track the quickest way possible. Took a lot of learning. This is a good thing y'all are doing. I didn't have a mentor coming up. Damon, I believe a lot of us were that way, especially those that didn't have someone that they could look up to. A lot of the trackers in my area are very fortunate. I mean, they got, not bragging about myself. I'm saying this because I have the years of experience, but they have me and Randy Vick within all the trackers in my area. And even over here, I mean, y'all are only a couple hours away from me and Randy. You know, and me and Randy combined have a lot of experience, and both of us share that experience with people. Now, some of these knuckleheads, you know, they know everything because they're trying to make a name for themselves, and it's backfiring. They don't realize that. And I'm trying to tell them, hey, learn from my mistakes. Be smarter than me. You know, and Damon, that's where you're at now. You're going to have these new people coming up in your area, and you're going to be me looking at them saying, hey, learn from my mistakes, and they probably won't listen either. But, so on to another subject, Tommy Jackson says, what is the longest time-wise track y'all have recovered?
Mine's 47 hours.
Mine was 85 hours last year, but let me explain that. Before everyone starts bashing or putting 2 cents in, no, it did not wind it. The wind was at our backs. We didn't go there to track a deer that was that old. We went there. We put on the trail. It just so happened that deer was shot 4 days before in the same exact location. The dog hit that trail, went to it. Do I think that her nose is that great? No. Everything has to be perfect. Randy Vick will tell you he recovered one. I think it was 76 hours old with Annie, and that was a heck of a trail. I mean, it wasn't a cakewalk, but even Randy will tell you everything has to be perfect. We consistently find them in 30, 40-hour-old trails. My bloodhound, his oldest was 58 hours. And it was kind of the same scenario. We went to the club. The guy says, man, I wish I'd have known about you the other day. I said, well, I don't have anything going on. Let's go try it. And we recovered it. But 24 hours is nothing for most dogs. I mean,
and people are, those hunters, they panic thinking you're going to wait overnight. To me, everything gets better.
Right.
And it just learning how to calm them down is probably one of the biggest uh, things, or the best things you can learn to do, is calming that hunter down so that you can give it the weight. As soon as it gets cool enough around here, I'm I'm always putting them off to the next morning,
Oh yeah, I don't want to track at night anymore.
and it just seems to work out so much better. And
I know you like tracking at night, but
I do, but
I like tracking the daytime. I like putting them off.
you know, especially the guys that go out there and grid search for 3 hours, call you at 11 o'clock. I'm waiting till tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
It just, I'm just not going to do that. They should have called earlier and we'd have had a game plan. But it I don't know. It just wait times just, and there again, kind of going back to that first question, to test your dogs, get them things to where you feel confident, and never shy away from an old track. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're not going to find it. That's it. That's the worst thing. Don't shy away from them. You want to know how old your dog can run a track. I ran 47 and found it. I've never put one on. I never put a track older than that with her, so I don't know what mine is. But it definitely gives you some confidence. If you can run tracks that old, then you're not limited at all. And it just, that confidence level is a must to me. And
Yep, Randy Vick just replied. He said, I would not have taken the 72-hour track if I hadn't been 2 blocks from the hunter when he called. Yeah, and most of the time when we find these crazy long ones, it's not a call, someone saying, hey, I shot a deer 70 hours ago. It's scenarios like that.
mine was, they'd never heard about us, about
That
the
happens
Blood
a lot.
Trailing Network. They just didn't, and somebody told him about us, and it was his boy's first deer, first bow shot, first everything. And so I'm like, oh, what the heck, I'll go. And sure enough, we found it.
So Cassidy said her dad, James Long, was 72 hours after it was shot.
Yep.
Let's see. And let's talk about that for a minute. So when it comes to breed, they talk about, Bloodhound has the best noses. Well, Randy found that one 72 hours with a Kimber Cur. James Long 67 hours with a Black Mouth Cur. I mean, it's not breed specific. I mean, yours is with a Teckle. Mine Black Mouth Cur, Bloodhound. I mean, I found them with over 40 hours with many different breeds. So it's not a breed specific thing. Chuck Darby said, he said, I have ran one that was 2 days old and under 2 inches of snow.
That would be fun to track in the snow.
I haven't done it yet.
All right, you ready for another question?
Yeah.
Chris Wilson asked, dog hydration during hot weather, and does it affect their ability to track?
Yes. Yes, it does. Anything is water, water, water.
Yeah.
Lots of water. Carry water with you.
Yeah, especially at the beginning of the season, my backpack is full of water, and it's only for me and the dogs, because you never know how much you're going to need. And I've had Camo heat exhaustion to where she just couldn't, her back end went down.
And don't think it has to be when it's hot.
No.
They're exerting themselves, and
I actually, like now with so much water, and some years you have more water than normal, I love it because the dogs can get in it, and they're usually in it on every track. So it takes a lot of stress off of me worrying about them. But you get in those middle of the day tracks when it's 95, 100 degrees, and I'm watching them and constantly pulling them back, giving them water, not just when they show you they need water. I'm giving them water just because. And I always now that we're on that, I've got cake icing, which I think it was Randy Vick that I learned that from.
I keep honey packets.
And I got honey and that cake icing in my backpack all the time, and just and it helps. When them dogs go down, it definitely usually my track's over when that happens. I'm right. It's, usually they push themselves to keep it on because most dogs won't quit, and but that usually will end it. But I got to get them back to the truck. That'll at least help them get back on their feet.
So Judy's got a good comment here. It goes back to working with your fellow teams. She said, one thing that has really helped in our area, we have a group text between some of our local trackers, 75 to 100 mile radius. Lyle Avis, Alan Barrett, Kyle Parks, and more. Talk about some strong teams right there.
I don't know about Lyle, but okay.
Yeah. And Alan and Kyle, you know, they had that Mullins touch on their dogs. So yeah. I know they're. We are constantly coordinating and referring tracks to make sure every hunter has a tracker and that not more than one of us is headed to the same track. You know, that is great. That's what we need more of. We need more teams working together. And it's, I know I said, you know, talking about the 2-year, you know, terrible twos, but it happens. And we got a lot of new trackers, and they don't understand. If they will be patient, the tracks will come. I mean, I refer probably 150 tracks a year to other trackers, if not more. You know, and I like new trackers to come with me, and I don't even take my dog out unless we don't have a recovery, and I feel like we should. I like watching another dog work. I like watching these new trackers grow and develop. I guess that's the guide in me. You know, I'm a guide for a living. That's the aspect I like. I love teaching and developing and watching people progress. So Perry Lawrence asked, do you ever give a small amount of Gatorade? I don't. And it's just like humans. The best time to have them hydrated is before you even go to work. Make sure your dog has water at all times, especially at home in the kennel. If you keep it in the kennel, make sure there's adequate water. I have automatic water licks in my kennels. But if they're not hydrated before they go on the track, they're gonna get dehydrated really quick.
Damon Chase.
This one?
Yeah. You prefer?
All right. Well, I'll put it up. I'll put it up there where everyone. Come on now. Not what I meant to do. All right. So I'll put it up here where all you can see the question. You prefer a one dog team or multiple? Depends on the situation, but most of the time I like a 2-dog team.
Yep. I was just fixing to say that.
Because if you have a good 2-dog team where they work together, man, it's hard to beat. I mean, it's, you know, one might overshoot or one might struggle, miss something, the other one pick it up. But the key is training independently.
Yep.
Don't just take a young pup and put it out there with an older dog and think you're going to produce a top dog.
Yep.
Training
2 independent dogs running them together is an unbeatable team. It is awesome, and you will put a lot more deer on the tailgate, in my opinion. I've got a young dog coming up. She got a few deer that Camo missed this year, and she went crazy.
I told you she was going to end up.
So putting them, but they got to be independent. You do not want them to depend on each other at all, and so that's the key to me. What you just said, because you get 2 of them that way, man, it is fun, and the confidence level. You got 2 of them out there that you trust 100%, and it just that confidence. You need to have the confidence in your dogs, and that does it to me.
Oh yeah. And you know, especially like back in the days when I used to dog hunt deer dogs, hog dogs. We had some pack dogs, and they had their place.
Now, let's
but
go ahead. Sorry.
but for what we're doing, you don't need pack dogs.
I would say another thing to me, I've noticed this year since I've got two dogs that will bay, and with mine being little dogs, I run into. I don't think the deer is intimidated by the little dogs, but I noticed this year I had a couple of times where, and here's where recall can come in and help you a lot. I had one start baying, and I could see the other one harking to her, and I've called them off because sometimes that deer's not going to run from one dog baying, but two dogs baying, it couldn't stand the heat of that, and it ran, and so I've had to start watching some of that this year, because one dog baying, if you can get in there, you don't need a second dog. So I've gotten them. That's why I always carry a leash with me in case I've got to pull a dog off. I ain't got to sit there and hold it by the collar. I can put it on a lead, tap their tree, or do something in that heat of the moment. Uh, and that's just the way I work my dogs because I don't have catch dogs. So I've got to watch some of that stuff, and so there's some little strategies in there that you got to watch.
And the other side of that, with a multiple dog team, sometimes I may only turn out one dog, or sometimes I may have 4, 5, 6 dogs in the box. But most of the time I'm gonna turn out one or two, and then let's say something goes wrong and I need to put those up. I have other dogs in place. That's another advantage to having a multiple dog team. Say you put one dog on the ground or two dogs on the ground, something happens to one of them. They get cut, they get something happens. You still have another dog, and I have to call in less people behind me because I have other options in the box.
Yeah.
So Travis Sykes said he'll use a little bit of Gatorade with water. Travis Bozeman says that he has electrolyte paste that is made for horses that he thinks can be used for dogs. Travis, let me know about that. I'd be interested to know. Okay, we have a question for you, Ralph, from Chuck Darby. Ralph, can you tell the difference in the longer hair dogs overheating faster?
No. My short hair dog will heat over. I've got the two tackles I use. One's got a lot longer hair. The other one is short hair to where she, other than her around her feet and her beard, you can't even tell she's got wire hair, and she gets hot faster than the other one. I've never even seen her get heat, have the heat bother her. She just doesn't seem to ever get tired. So in my experience, I haven't, but I worried about it due to us being down here when I got her, but it just doesn't seem to bother them. Or at least it doesn't with me. I can't speak for others, but it just doesn't seem to bother them. I think a lot of it is how much energy they're exerting out on the track.
And weight.
Yeah. Because like Camo, which is the short haired one, she's just 90 miles a minute every second. She is on the ground. She doesn't stop. She doesn't wait for anything. And she is full 100% go every second. And I think and she don't quit. So you have got to watch her. So that's, to me, that's a little it's dog specific, not really, to me, breed specific.
Right.
So
the other side of that is the dog's weight and the diet, nutrition. Nutrition has a direct impact on it. A lot of people, some people might feed their dog Old Roy, or I'm feeding something a little higher end. You might be dog nutrition, which Dr. Graham went over last time in July, and I think he'll probably touch on it again this time, which is the vet that will be at our Georgia seminar. You know, he talked about dog nutrition, and that plays a direct role in their stamina. Damon Chase, word of mouth goes a long ways. Yes, it does. Like Randy Vick always says, all that a tracker has is a reputation. Did I miss something? Oh.
Oh, he was just talking about going through a ton
Oh,
of water.
yeah. Chuck, we appreciate you tagging all those people and spreading the word. It doesn't go unnoticed. We really appreciate that. Cassidy Long, let me just highlight this one. On the topic of overheating, can you go over the do's and don'ts with a dog that's overheating? Dr. Graham, he did a pretty good presentation at the last seminar. I imagine he'll discuss that again, especially if we want him to.
Yeah.
And Cassidy, I know your mom would say, keep some rubbing alcohol with you. You know, but I kind of want to save that for the seminar. Let Dr. Graham touch on that. One thing is he talked about is not cooling them down too quick, you know, and giving them a bunch of water when they're. But I would like to say, if you're good with it, I'd like to save that one for the seminar.
Yeah.
Damon Chase, dogs will speak for themselves. Put a good handler on top of that, you will be heard of, no doubt. All right, here's a good one. All right, Okies East Kansas Deer Recovery. Will you follow a fellow tracker if called by an unhappy hunter after a non-recovery? I know my answer. My answer is
I'm gonna call the other.
The first thing I'm gonna do is call the other tracker, and then I'll make a decision from there. But I'm not gonna go in behind someone just so I can pound my chest and say, "Oh, look at me." No, I'm gonna do what's right by my fellow tracker as well as the hunter. And the first thing is to call that other tracker and discuss the details.
I have had them not tell me who the other tracker was.
Right. So in that case, I mean, I may go, but I'm gonna want to know.
And I've had them tell me after if I find the deer, then they tell me, and then I called them before the crap hits the internet.
Oh yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we all want to see a deer recover.
Yeah. And just remember, how would you feel if somebody came behind you and found a deer? So be respectful of that with your fellow trackers if you're in that same position.
So
do unto others as you have them do unto you.
So you know why I'm laughing here, don't you? I shot a deer, and Cassidy Long, I don't know if her mom's on here, but Kim Long, I had been joking with Kim for over a year. She was wanting to be added to the tracker list, and Ralph and I, we were giving her a hard time about she's got to bake us some cookies and brownies and all this stuff, and you know, she refused to do it, so we weren't going to have, we said she was not a qualified tracker, blah, blah, blah. Well, I had a lease right around the corner from their house. I didn't take my dogs. So you know what? I'll call James and Kim if I need a deer track. Well, I shot a deer, and I think it turned out that post ended up with over 400 comments. I called Kim. Actually, I think I texted her. As soon as I shot, I said, "Hey, I'm going to need a dog." She said, "Are you serious?" She thought I was messing with her. And I get down, there's blood sprayed all over the palm fronds or the palmetto, and I couldn't find any blood after that. I knew it was a solid hit, but I felt it was a little far back. But I felt it was recoverable deer. She comes out there and did not recover the deer. And it was a fiasco. If you get time, go on the Florida Blood Trailing Network and just put in a search, my name, Kim's name, Ralph was there. Anyways, I call Ralph, and him and by then James Long showed up, which is Kim's husband. We ended up recovering the deer. Do yourself a favor. Join the Florida Blood Trailing Network. Search for that post. It's over 400 comments. I'll never forget it, and I don't think anyone else will. That was fun. Damon Chase says, love a 2-dog team. This was my first year working two together. Man, what a difference. It absolutely is. You know, these states that don't allow off-lead tracking, if they realize the significant impact on conservation that off-lead tracking has, and that's what our goal is to educate the hunting community on the best chances of ethical recovery in the name of conservation.
And 2 dogs versus 1 dog.
Right. But that first step is going to be off lead, because it's so hard to work 2 dogs on lead. I've tried it.
Yeah.
So Brandy, Chuck and Brandy steadily tagging people. Thank you for sharing this. Cassidy Long said a leash that can be tied around a tree has saved my butt a couple of times.
Yep.
We will have those available. I was told today they will be available for purchase at the Stockton event.
Cool.
Cassie said Dr. Graham recommended the alcohol too. Yep, he sure did.
What was Judy? She just agreed with
yes.
2 dogs. Hey, you're passing over the little dog people. Come on.
Hey, wait till you see her mail. I want to steal that dog from her. If she will just turn her head long enough for me to get that dog, man, that's a good looking dog. And that sucker will hunt. Yeah, this is why I love the testing and judging dogs. Meeting someone like Judy. Judy is a phenomenal handler. She has some great dogs. And that male dog that she told me she wasn't too sure about, he's something now. I really like that dog. But meeting all the people and all the dogs, watching the dogs work, I love it. I think I'd love that more than tracking. I mean, it's just so much fun. Larry York replying to Chuck Darby. Chuck Darby, I call bull on the 2 dogs being better. I have ran a 3-dog team and never had a dog injured. Here is the results of your 2 dogs law. And both dogs are finished, bay and track. We don't need to get in all that arguing, bickering back and forth. I mean, this. Chuck says, I try to get the dogs to drink plenty of water before the track to stay in front of the heat. Absolutely. That's key. Tommy Jackson Nutrition, what do y'all recommend? Well, the vet that spoke at our last event in July recommended a 30-20 feed. 30% protein, 20% fat. He said he does not recommend grain-free. I believe he said it leads to more heart health issues. Damon Chase, the tracker story and the hunter story are never the same. Always make the phone call to the tracker. And there are times where I call the tracker and I hear what they're saying. I listen and put the two together like it's always said. There's 3 sides to every story. Randy says, now I tell them all to call a drone. Oh, man. Call the other tracker if the hunter won't tell me who they are. I'll tell the hunter if you want me to come out, then tell me who it is. Most of the time I can narrow it down. I'll call everyone and find out.
I forgot one. Kyle Parks wrote or asked a question. If you lose connection with your collar, what's the best plan on recovering dog?
The best plan is to get to where, so it'll show a question mark of where it lost signal. The best thing is to get to that mark as fast as you can.
I had that happen one time. I called in another tracker to track the deer, knowing my dog was going to be on the trail of the deer. And what had happened was I was on lead that day, and in the lead it was so thick I had to let it go, and she got away from me. I looked down, and I did not, which is another cardinal rule now, I did not make sure my collar was synced to my handheld. And I called in James Long, and he came in and tracked the deer, and my dog was 15 feet away from the deer, and the lead was around a bush, and the deer was still alive. And so we found it, but it was by bringing in another dog also.
Yeah. But
I've never had it happen where the dog just vanished and I couldn't locate the dog on the GPS. So I've not had that.
I've had it happen, and so if you don't get to it quick enough, you can put these collars into a emergency mode to save battery life, where you can come back. But back in the day, before we had tracking collars, we'd leave a jacket in the woods and shirt in the woods, wherever. You come back the next day, that dog's normally on your jacket. That still works.
I'm going to be sitting by my jacket because I ain't leaving.
But I have a long range antenna mounted to my truck for those cases. I mean, I can get back. I look on there and normally have signal. But the biggest thing is get to where you lost signal. And really, before you even get to that point, you should know the limitations. Put that collar on the ground and drive down the road or walk through the woods and see where you start losing signal, and know your distance and recall your dog before it gets to that point. And that's why you need a solid recall.
Yeah, that's the reason why you're losing signal. Yeah, that's your fault. That ain't your device's fault. And yeah, I don't let mine get that way because I get a panic. I'm getting them back, and I'll walk them up to it, and we'll re-put them on it. But yeah, I'm not letting them get out of range.
Now, you talked about the lead being wrapped up and having to go get the dog. I saw a post this morning. A guy was he was videoing dropping the lead and training dropping the lead. This was an on-lead state, and he was talking about the game warden told him he could drop the lead as long as he picks back. Got to be careful with that for that reason. I mean, and it may have just been in this particular video, and I've done it myself, but I know. So I've dropped it during training and letting them drag it during training on mock tracks and stuff. And I don't always have a collar on them because the dogs I'm working I know has a solid recall when I'm doing that. But if you don't, even you're out there on the live deer situation, or you're not in a controlled environment, make sure you have a tracking collar on that dog. I highly recommend one even working on lead, because I've had dogs slip harnesses, slip collars, leads break. But be careful dropping that lead and letting a dog drag it, because it's just a matter of time before it gets hung up. And this particular person had a loop, a handle on the end of their lead. That's going to be the first thing that tangles up. Cut that sucker off. That way it can slip through. But in the event that you drop it to get it untangled to go around something and the dog takes off and you don't have time to pick it up. I just posted a video. My son learned a lesson the other day. Working a young dog, I told him before the track, don't drop that lead. That dog's fast. What's he do? He drops the lead. The dog's boom, gone. My son had to run and step on the lead. So Gary Huber here says, deer search, West New York, um, listening. By New York law, we have to run with a lead. It compromises the dog at times when lead gets hung. When lead gets hung it up on a soft dog, breaks dog's concentration, pain in the butt to work through. Wish I could run off lead like you all. Recovery rate would be much higher. It is significantly higher, and that's we. That's one of my goals is to really promote off lead tracking. That's why we developed these off lead tests so that we could demonstrate that you can read a dog through a handheld, a GPS. You can control a dog through a wireless collar. And we're going to recover far more deer. And Florida for a long time, up until about 4 or 5 years ago, you could kill 2 deer a day every day. Well, now we have bag limits. A lot of states have bag limits. And so instead of them injuring one deer that runs off, and let's say for some reason we can't get it, property lines or whatever, well, now they can fill another tag. Well, if we recovered that first deer, guess what? We just saved another deer's life. That's conservation, and that's how it needs to be promoted. And that is our goal, is to educate the communities. Joel, I don't mind being followed up on, but hunters don't understand tracking. Usually talking to other tracker gets you valuable information. Absolutely. Brad Shoemaker says, find a tracker map. We don't have one yet, Brad. I don't know what we're going to do there yet. We've discussed that. Whatever we do, I want it to be better than some of the other ones out there. But
what's the one about the red tree?
where's that? Let me know when I'm down for a road trip.
Oh, Gary.
Yeah. It's fine calling the other tracker, but after you find enough deer behind folks, they tell you not to ask their opinion. I'm not sure I understand that. It's fine calling the other tracker, but after you find enough deer behind folks, they tell you not to ask their opinion. I don't think I've ever experienced that. Unless I'm just misunderstanding what he's saying there.
I guess he's not saying if you find enough deer behind certain people, they quit asking your opinion.
I guess. Okay, that's another good topic. Drones. I'm all for dogs, but the more we fight with them, the more they will be against us. We should be for the tailgate of the deer. Hey, my view on drones is the technology's here. We're not going to. We're not going to combat that.
We're not going to stop it.
Yeah, we're not going to stop it. I say embrace it, educate, and continue doing what you're doing. I'm not going to put a drone down. I think there's places for drones. I think the majority of the time, a dog is a better option. I don't know of any deer that a drone has found that a dog could not find. But I have found deer that drones couldn't find.
Same here.
I transfer mine from the regular dog feed to puppy chow to keep up body weight. So the vet talked about that, and he actually said, don't switch their feed. Feed a quality 30-20 feed year round, because you want to build that dog up before the season so that it doesn't drop and diminish during the season. You want to build that nutrition up. So that a lot of people think, oh, I'll cut back in the off season. Well, no, that's when you need to build that up. Mitchell Smith.
Talking about verbally calling the dog.
Yeah, it's very important that your dog will come back when verbally called, even when on track. I've had to do that a couple of times. I agree. I also agree with horn breaking a dog.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I know a dog's coming back, if I'm at the truck, I'm going to do it every time, just so that and or hollering at them to come to my voice. That Travis does that well. His dogs come. We've had them pull off. So it all matters. So train everything, but definitely matters.
Yes, it does. Will training on recall be covered at the seminar? Yes. Randy Vick, I found behind drones and had drones find behind me. Might as well join them. Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, they're here. The technology's here. It has its place. You know, we need to work together. You know, I've heard some drone guys saying, "Oh, the dogs run the deer off the property. They won't come back." Well, you know what? We need to educate not only the hunters. We need to educate those drone guys. You know, personally, I don't think a drone should be able to cross property lines. You know, in a lot of places they can. But you know, again, that's one of their advantages, I guess. But you still got to get permission to go get that deer. Jason Smith, when you call a tracker to ask about going behind them on a track that a hunter called you about, the other tracker is butthurt and tells you not to ask their opinion. I've never experienced that. So I really can't respond to that one because I've never had a tracker upset that I called them and told them, hey, this hunter called me, you know, I don't want to go out there without. Maybe it's how you ask them. I don't know. Travis Bozeman, why not invite them to track together on a few tracks to build report? Yes, absolutely, and we do that a lot. So here in Florida, especially, we have been huge on this mentorship program, and Travis Bozeman will tell you it works. We all work together for the most part. Even, I mean, we've had some relationships dissolve over the years due to tracking related stuff, and all this has brought those relationships back together. May not be the same as it was, but we're working together. Never happens with my group. I'm never butthurt. Yeah, have you ever experienced that? Other than when you go look at that post with the 400 comments. I wish Kim was on here. Damon Chase, usually a good way to get up with another tracker and try to get together. So these events are the perfect place.
Yep.
You know, we built a lot of relationships with these events. And, speaking of building relationships with events, we had a judges workshop at your farm.
Yep, this past weekend. Last 2 weekends, actually. And, man, if anybody wants to come do something, call me. If I'm free, we'll do something. That's kind of how this 2 weekends ago was. Asked one person, and all of a sudden it turned into 4, just because we enjoy being around each other and we trying to help each other. So it don't have to be just during tracking season. We have a ball. We cook some sausage, and we have fun. We like tracking. There's everything to do with tracking. So we've driven places to help some judges, and I don't know when it will stop or what would make me stop. It ain't now because we enjoy doing this stuff, and so anytime we can help, especially the mentorships part of it, that's when it really gets fun to me. Um, and uh, and some of those people, the apprentice or the people starting out, man, you will gain a wealth of knowledge. Even the other day at these event or these judges workshops, you're gonna learn something. And I guarantee you, you don't know everything there is to know about tracking and or the Garmin's, the different apps. So everything helps. You can learn one little thing, and it's worth a day of coming out somewhere because it's going to help you do something with your dogs or with tracking. And it it's just fun. It's fun to learn stuff that'll help you. And
Oh yeah.
every single judge's workshop, I learned something. So it just helps.
Yeah.
Not to mention you get to watch other people's dogs, and you know it don't help. It don't hurt to learn how to read another person's dog as good as reading your dog. It'll help you read your dog. So it's just fun.
Yeah, it's and I'm pretty good with a Garmin, but there was some things that came up this weekend I had to do a little bit of research on and work through. The one thing, and I shared it on that YouTube video I made on how to show the GPS accuracy. We had a line come back, and typically, we utilize the Dog Tracks app a lot. I love the Dog Tracks app. It's one of the best tools that we use for training and testing. There are instances where if you're laying a line with Dog Tracks and you stop to create a wound bed or do something, that line may be off just a little bit. It's just because the way the satellites are, the GPS. The Garmin is a little more forgiving when that comes into play. But we ran into a situation Saturday where that Garmin line looked jacked up, and that test line would have been rejected if we didn't have a second. That Dog Tracks was spot on.
Yep.
Well, the only reason we knew what went wrong is we were looking at the accuracy of the GPS, and it went from I think it was a 6 or 8 feet accuracy to 28 feet. Well, when it made that jump, it caused a jog in that line. So it looked like there was something funky went on with that test line that would have been rejected. But then when you looked at Dog Tracks, it was perfect. And that's why we use two different ones, and that's why we look at these things before a dog is ran on it for that consistency. But that was something we learned at that event. And I mean, I've been using Garmin for years. I feel like I can read a dog on Garmin probably as good as most people that read their dog on a lead. But stuff like that came up.
Corey asked if it was going to be recorded. We're not sure yet.
Well, Corey, even with it recorded, we can't put all this. I mean, man, I've got a hard drive at the house now that I just got from the last seminar. The amount of time it takes to edit these videos and get them posted, there's no way we're going to be able to do all of it. The best thing is to be there. And I understand some people can't. There's going to be stuff at this seminar that is not going to be at other seminars. Just like these conversations here, and like Saturday, we had stuff come up that we planned on. I planned on going there and setting people's Garmin's up and doing this. Well, next thing you know, this comes up, that comes up, this comes up. Stuff you can't prepare for. It's the same thing with these seminars. Questions come up that you didn't expect, or just lots of stuff. But as far as recording it, it's going to be next to impossible to get all that. I want to go back up here. Darren Miner. Darren said, we added a drone to our arsenal this year, mainly because of the high demand for them. We flew about 30 drone flights this year and found about 20 or so dead and still alive. Only one circumstance where we fly after a dog. We are an on-lead state, and it was in a swamp. The dog was on the track but couldn't get to it, being that it was in a deep swamp and having to track on lead. That's a prime example. I mean, that's really not going to affect us in our area, but in that situation, that's a prime example where a drone pays off. Yeah, she's talking about it. Darren said found the dog in a few minutes, or the deer in a few minutes. Dog was going right to it. Okay, we're back to Corey's question. I'm just scrolling down. So Cassie said, and got to watch other people handle and test their dogs as a judge. That's very helpful. So, you know, one thing about testing a dog is it's not all. So everyone has on their mind about certification. You know, I don't need my dog certified. What is invaluable is having another set of eyes watching you and that dog and being able to pick up on things. I'm not going to say a person's name, but we had a test on Saturday, and I was not the judge, but I was there on the line. Someone else was judging it, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching this dog get every clue, looking back, wanting its handler to follow the dog, and the handler, and it was, I know it was nerves. I mean, you could see it was nerves, but the handler was stopping, and the dog stopped, looked back, like, you know, am I not supposed to go this way? Well, that handler didn't even realize that was happening. I mean, you were there for that conversation, had no clue that they were doing that, and that happened. And I was actually videoing it. I said, "Look at this video." And the handler's like, "Oh yeah, I see that." So we went afterwards and reran that line, and the handler almost did it again, and then remembered what I said, remembered that video, seen the dog look back, and the handler went, and the dog finished out that line perfect. You know, another set of eyes. Tony Hayes says, I so appreciate the availability to answer questions. So Tony, you got the text message last night from Stacy. Tony had recently gotten a new Garmin, and he had the Dog Tracks app, and the line looked good. He ran it. So Dog Tracks has a feature where you can share a blind track. So I can lay a track, and if you have the subscription service, I can send you that track as a blind track. It'll show you the start, and that's it. So that's what he did. He ran it blind. Afterwards, you know, he saw the line. Well, he looked at his Garmin, and it looked terrible. Well, it was a situation where he was utilizing the My Tracks feature, thinking that was tracking the dog when it was actually tracking him. So what he was looking at was his tracks, not the dog's. But he reached out to me and Stacy, and I was able to walk him through the process. And I made that YouTube video last night, went ahead and posted it to help some people out. Damon Chase says, there's plenty to learn when you think you've seen it all. A new season comes along, no doubt. Darren said, we did fly twice behind our own dogs and still didn't find the deer, but it's what the client wanted. Corey said, still going to try to make it. Okay, Corey, we are not recording it. Even if we are not recording because we want to see you there. Oh.
Ooh, boy.
Oh. Do we even want to address that one? I guess we kind of need to. Any updates on support,
Not yet.
on UBT support of ABT? Not yet. Um, I am still a UBT member. I will continue to be as long as they will allow me to be.
Same here.
Um, we still promote the UBT on a personal level. I still test dogs through the UBT, and I will continue as long as they will let me. But as far as working together, I don't foresee that happening. Not on our end. You know, we extended that. So I hope that answers your question. I'm trying to tread lightly because I don't want to offend anyone or upset anyone.
Or hurt the chance of us working together if they change their mind.
Right.
Because we always wanted to, but they've kind of stopped it. So they've kind of drawn the line in the sand.
Yep. She said, sad face. Thanks for answering. I know it's a sensitive topic. Well, not only is it a sensitive topic, it's an emotional topic because we
Put in some hours.
We put in a lot of effort with the UBT, and honestly, I would still love the opportunity to judge for their organization.
Yep.
And participate in their events. I would love that opportunity, and it is what it is at this point. Perry Lawrence says, I'm still learning with Jet, especially off lead. A wild new experience, but I'm loving it. So is Jet. Yeah, so much better. The dogs work so much better.
Yep.
So much easier on me. So I had a question come in, and I won't answer their name, just in case they don't want me to, but it says, wasn't sure whether to ask this on the chat. Unfortunately, I can't make the event, but curious if you do any private testing if I come to you. Would like to get him some American Blood Tracker certifications. Yes, we do offer private testing. We did some Saturday. I'm actually going to test 2 dogs Thursday. I contacted a judge, and I will be testing 2 dogs and hopefully passing 2 dogs. I've ran quite a few dogs on test, and still a little nervous sometimes. But you were nervous your first one, weren't you?
Very. I don't care how many tracks you ran, showing up at an event and testing your dog will pull the nerves out of you. And it is nerve-wracking.
Sure is.
And it just is. In our test, you will be a part of the test, so the nerves will show up.
Oh, yeah.
So I think sure would practice, not just show up. Not to say you can't pass it, but it's tough. And especially as you progress through the tests, you get into a seasoned and a finished test. That's extremely nerve-wracking, but it's made that way to make sure you're thinking properly and you and your dog are working together.
And I tell you, and I know he won't mind me mentioning his name, Randy Vick. Randy Vick was instrumental in the development process of these test lines. Randy ran a dog on a season test, and actually, I'm trying to remember, but I think he went over on callbacks. And he said, well, so he hit a spot, and I believe it was a scent gap. Well, there was some ribbons that went off in the woods, and it wasn't put there by us. It was just some ribbons that went off that way. And his dog was going right, and he saw those ribbons, and he said, well, that trail must have went that way. And he pulled his dog and pushed it down that line of ribbons and got a call back. But we got a YouTube video on the American Blood Trackers YouTube channel of Randy running a finish line. You'll see it's edited. It was August, I believe, when we ran that. It was in the mid 90s. It was hot. The GoPro kept overheating. I was literally dunking it in water in the swamp to cool it off so I could get more video footage. But Randy ran a great line on that test. So if you're interested in what is involved in the finish level test, how it works, watch that YouTube video. I'll get some more up of the started season. We do have a video of the judges' process on the started test that Travis Bozeman helped us with, because Travis is going through all the phases of becoming, hopefully soon, a finish level judge. There's good stuff on there if you want to watch that. I think we need to recognize some people that's helping us with this event and some of our other events. We got the tracker app, Shane Simpson, Darren Miner.
Yep.
Darren's on here. Darren has sent us some tracking shoes.
We'll be raffling. Got some good raffle stuff.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to be raffling off like a test kit for either judge or somebody that's, wanting to do some certifications, and it's going to be everything you need to do that with. It's going to be pretty cool. But Darren's shoes, since we promote, that's the shoes we use for the test, and it's a requirement to use those so that it's consistent. But he's graciously donated a set of shoes for us, so that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. We Duval Catahoula's, Randall Duval has.
And we're going to him the week after our event.
Yes.
So we'll be out in Louisiana for that one.
And then, of course, Brandy and Chuck Darby.
Theirs is in May, correct?
Theirs is in May. We have the Alabama event in May.
First weekend of May, and then the second weekend of May is Darby's.
Yes. And we've gotten a lot of questions, Ralph, from people that are interested in testing, but they've never experienced it. And they want to know if they can tag along and watch.
Mm-hmm.
And so my response has been, well, that'll be up to the person testing.
Right.
However, I'm willing, and I think a lot of the judges, if we have the downtime, are willing to work with some people. And so you can learn and see how this goes.
We've also had another one that didn't want to test at an event because he didn't want to be in front of a crowd. Well, just to tell everybody, if you've never been to an event or never tested your dog, it's the judge and you. If you don't want anybody, you're the only two out in the woods. So you don't have people just watching or coming along. It can be you, your dog, and the judge. And so you're out in the woods by yourselves with that one person. So you don't have to be worried about, other people watching you and something going wrong. And so in essence, it's no different than being on a private test. It's still you, your dog, and the judge. So it's just, there's going to be, multiple people out in the woods at different areas, but while you're running that track, it's just you. So
Yep.
Don't worry about that.
Treat it as a real track.
Yep.
And that's one thing I can't stress enough. With our testing program, if you're used to using a Garmin, a phone app, marking blood, toilet paper, whatever, treat it as a real track. Mark your blood, however you need to. We don't care if you use an electronic device. You're going to use one in the field. If you're smart, you will ask your hunter, hey, if you see any blood, call it out. That's the resource you have on a real track. You have the hunter there looking. So treat it exactly as a real track and you'll be fine.
And we set this up to simulate real tracks. We, pretty much everything we do, if you've done enough tracks, you've ran across this stuff on your tracks. So, I don't know, but it's still going to be nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to get away from that.
So David Cook asked a good question. If we are going to the seminar in Georgia, do you recommend us going to the one in Alabama as well? Absolutely.
Sure.
You will get something from every seminar. No two are alike. They may have some similar topics. But we're going to have different speakers from the local areas generally, if we can. Just the storytelling outside of the seminar part, and hanging out. Different, you may, if you're testing, you may have a different judge, different points of view with good feedback. Go to every one that you can attend. I mean, you will get something from it. Just like every track, you learn something from every track. I don't care how long you've been doing it. Let's see. Ernest Powell, I've been tracking for a long time. I'm wondering if this is ever going to become a papered or certified dog to track. I foresee it coming to that. Are we going to push for that? No. I'm not.
No.
The association's not. We are going to prepare for that. And I think everyone should prepare for that because it's just a matter of time. More and more, especially in the South, because the laws have been so lenient for so many years. There's going to come a time where it's coming under attack. We need to be prepared. That's the reason why we have developed the test the way that we have. We've one thing that's unique with our testing program is more of the handler aspects, the hunter interview, the in-depth hunter interview. Let me rephrase that. The hit site analysis and being able to demonstrate that you can read and analyze a hit site and provide adequate wait times for ethical recovery. The ability to, again, analyze a wound bed that may be different from that hit site, may be the same, may be different, and to show that you can strategize for the best chance of ethical recovery of that deer. Also demonstrate the ability to obey property lines and show restraint that you can wait at that property line to get permission. So all this stuff is developed into our test. And in our off-lead test, you have to show the ability to recall your dog remotely, to read your dog remotely, to know, looking at that handheld when it's in a search mode, and know where your property lines are, when to recall it, and it should be able to recall on a dime and come back. All of this was put in place to prepare for what may come in the future. So, yes, I believe it will eventually come to that. Do you have anything else, Ralph?
No. We also put up, well, you can see it right there on the at the bottom of the picture. That's the website. If anybody needs to go on there and look at anything or order anything or sign up for anything, One of the things that we've seen with the people testing, bear in mind, and I might have mentioned it in the beginning, you have to be a member in order to test. So if you haven't joined, but you've signed up for some tests, we'll be getting with you. So if you know you're one of those, go ahead and sign up for the membership, because you'll have to do that before you test.
And it helps us to be able to provide, these seminars, be able to do this right here. We've already had several states reach out and ask us to help with legislative efforts. All of that money goes towards that.
Sure.
We're not trying. No one gets rich off the tracking community. We have no intentions of making a bunch of money doing this. We want to grow the tracking community, educate hunters, educate trackers. Brandy, I need that cord. No, she'll get it. I think probably good, but power. Yeah. Is there anyone that we missed, or any questions that we missed? Or?
No. I think next week we'll have a lot more. It'd probably be more on the event, because as we're getting things finalized and things change. So we'll definitely, next Tuesday it'll be geared up for the event.
So we have people coming from all over. We have some people coming from Pennsylvania, North Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas. I mean, I spoke to so many people.
Yep.
It's going to be a good time.
Yep.
And we're having a fish fry Friday night. We are doing something special for our judges, Thursday night, because we're going to have to lay some test lines Thursday night for Friday morning testing. So we have five people testing on the finished test line.
Yep.
Some of those are doing it on Friday morning, so we're gonna have to lay those lines Thursday night. There's limited testing on Saturday. Very limited testing on Saturday. So if Saturday is the only day that you can test, please sign up as soon as possible. I don't even know if it's already full for Saturday. I'm sure we can accommodate, but make sure you get with Stacy, because we will not be running any tests during the time of the seminar. I believe right now we have planned from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yeah. Usually runs over, but
yeah, it does. We're going to have an award ceremony.
Yep.
So you want to be there. If you took a test, you want to be there for that award ceremony. We have the DNR is going to be there.
Correct. We got DNR. We got the vet.
Dr. Graham.
Dr. Graham will be there again. The snake avoidance guy will be talking.
Richard and Todd Beavis.
That was awesome last year.
Yeah.
Or last
July.
Summer. Lyle will be talking about the Garmin's and the technical stuff.
And probably the biggest hit in July was the What Would You Do?
Yep.
We will be doing that again.
Absolutely.
We will be picking on some of y'all that we track with. Got to have thick skin around
if
us.
you've got some cool stuff, feel free to send it to us on that what would you do situations, and tell us what happened. We'll use your situation that might have happened to you.
Yeah, some unique hit sites or wound beds.
Something that would stump some people, but you know what the outcome is. Those are cool. That's what everybody loves. We love that. That's just fun. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep. Joey McDonald sent me one. I need to go back. I hope I didn't delete it. Joey McDonald sent me a good one. I'm normally really good at seeing these pictures and figuring it out. And he sent me one that stumped me this year. And I felt like I had it figured out. But I was wrong. And I can admit that. But it was, I'll try to find it. If not, I'm going to reach out to Joey to send it to me again. Really? What in the world? How do I get off of this? Anyways, unfortunately, I can't make this one. My other half might not like me missing our baby shower. Who cares about a baby shower? I mean, you're going to have the baby for the rest of your life. I mean, there's only going to be one Stockton, Georgia event in 2024. You don't want to miss that. That baby, you'll have the baby the rest of your life. No. Don't tell her I said that. Yes, AmericanBloodTrackers.org. So, I think that about wraps it up. David Chase said should have been tracking that day instead. Or been at an event. Oh, no. Congratulations, Damon. Well, we're
going to sign off.
We appreciate
it, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will see you next week and hopefully see you at the event.
Yep.
If you have any questions, please go on our Facebook group, American Blood Trackers. Ask questions if there's anything you want us to talk about in the next video. And if you need any help, feel free to reach out to us. Have a good night.